Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Savage Traveling, coming to you from Hanoi, Thailand today. I'm going to give you a quick tour of our house here in Isaan and just show you a little bit about the way we live here. Obviously this isn't going to be how everybody lives here, but this is what we have going on. We live back off the road. You got to walk or drive your motorbike up and down this small soi every day. Sometimes if we have visitors with vehicles, they can park out here or right here. Not a big deal. I like living off the road a little bit. Sometimes, you know, like I said, when the garbage truck comes through, it be stinking. So living back here does have its advantages. This is our like outdoor living here. The kitchen's out here. This is the dinner table here, you know, the all activity table. You got motorbike parking here. You got three-wheeler parking here. You got our table that holds our dishes, the sink over there, rice cooking station, mom's motorbike. This is like the food prep area. Get out of here, cat. That's our clothes washer. We hang dry everything out back. I'll show you that here in a few minutes. This is where food goes to die. Most Thai places I've noticed has a cabinet where you put the food and they will pick off that throughout the day usually. It's my beautiful wife. Here's all the poo that the grandma and mom have been collecting out of the rice fields out on the land. Here's a bunch of poo bagged up. Little crabs is what they are, but poo in Thai. They're gonna sell these at the market later. Like I said, here's our sink. I bought this for $30 on Lazada when I got here 2 years ago because they were washing dishes right here, and I like to have a place to come and wash my hands after, you know, using the facility and whatnot. Not a bad investment. The table we bought in June or July of this year. It's about 3,000 baht, 3,300 baht, around $100. Good investment. Like, I like sitting at the table. Before was just that wooden bench back there, the one in the corner, and not the greatest place to eat, you know what I mean? Here is grandma's grill, cooker, stove, I don't know what you want to call it. You know, you use sticks and you boil and or grill. That is storage. She stores her rice in there that she, when the cousins harvest the rice, since it's all her land, well, it was all her land, but she's divided it up for the grandkids. But when she gets her cut of rice, it all goes in there and she keeps that locked up. Let's see. I'll show you guys the bathroom. Some 5-6 years ago, the whole house was renovated and they put this awning on, they put the siding on, they redid the whole upstairs in like steel instead of wood. They took as much wood as they could, so the termites, you know, because obviously steel is much better than wood in building construction here because the termites and the dampness and everything. So this used to be, I don't have an example right now, but it used to look way more traditional than it does now, but it's an old building. But this is when she had the bathroom put in some odd years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more. But you know, standard Western stool, hot water, vent fan. Yeah, not bad compared to the other bathroom in the house. I'll show you that here in a few minutes, which is just the old style bathroom with the squatty toilet and everything. These are old water containers. They don't really utilize them much anymore. When I first got here, they were using them, but I haven't seen grandma or mom deal with them in a long time. Now, up here, this green bin, which she just got a new one of these within the last year, but the water comes down into here, and this is where grandma showers. She just takes a bird bath daily, and she uses the rainwater. Now, these people will drink their rainwater. I've seen that go down several times, and I don't know if they're boiling it or what, but when grandma was still drinking rainwater when I first got here, but since I buy the water now, bottles of water, she drinks bottled water now. But drinking rainwater was a big thing around here, and it probably still is in some households. We'll cruise here to the back before we go inside. There's our air con. Only bum thing about all this concrete is that you can't really grow vegetables. This is grandma's wood collection for her fire. These came out of the storage up front. I don't know what her plans are with those. I have no idea. This is where we dry our clothes. Simple. This is, obviously you can fill this up with water. My wife used to keep frogs in here to eat and to sell. She made money. They had frogs, but it's just a hassle. You know what I mean? Like, and they're loud. Like, it's hard to get any sleep up here with like 500 frogs in here. Trust me. The banana plantation, that is somebody else's property. 2 older people used to live in that shed right in front of us until the woman died, and it's her family's property. So the old man that was with her left, and they had a bunch of fighting chickens back here. And when the old woman died, the fighting chickens went away, and they planted these banana trees, and they are much better neighbors than the fighting chickens, believe you me. Neighbors over there, they got a nice spread. They got a big old house. I haven't seen the old woman in a few days. She usually comes out and says hello. And here we go into the living room. This is the main living area. This mosquito net. Grandma will hook it up to these at night, and then she sleeps there. And not so bad. Now, when Guy was a kid, when my wife was a kid, this was dirt, and they kept the cows in here, and everybody stayed upstairs. So it's a lot different than when she was growing up. Now, this is a room here. This used to be grandma's bedroom. Now it's just kind of storage because it's silly hot in there pretty much all the time. This is like an old original part of the house that didn't really have any, I think they like surfaced the walls or whatever, but that's about all they did here. Like the old door there. Clothes storage, cooking storage. This is the old original bathroom with the squatty toilet. We just had the septic pit pumped out after, I think she said it was like 10 years since it's been pumped out. And I mean, that was only like $10 to do. It's always good to have the reserve toilet back here just in case. If the power goes out, our water, our well water pump quits working. So, it's good to have another toilet for sure. Refrigerator. She bought that 5 or 6 years ago when they did the renovation. Samsung, it's been good so far, at least of the 2 years I've been here. TV station, we bought internet when I got here a month ago. We're about to make the first payment on that, like 700 baht. It's good, it doesn't take me more than an hour to upload a YouTube video. I'm so far pretty happy with the service. It went out for a few hours last night, but then they notified her with a text message when it came back on, and we don't get that back home, you know what I mean? So I use this blow up chair occasionally, or a lot of times you can find me in the as we call it, the soul sucking bed, because you lay in there and then you don't want to get back up. We'll go upstairs here and I'll show you that. Like I said, this was all wood, and they tore it all down and they put in this steel structure to, for longevity purposes, I guess. You got your little pray Buddhist station here. You got Old King, and I believe that's the queen who just passed away, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Always keep the window open up here, after we wake up to get some airflow. See, this house used to more look like that one. So some major renovations went on well before I got here, but it was a smart move on my wife's part, because she definitely saved the house for many, many more years. And this is our bedroom, so this is where all the fun happens. You know, the one air con is for us, and grateful we have that, because I couldn't exist here without it. I promise you I couldn't. It gets too hot. If you know anything about Thailand, and if you know anything about this part of the country, in like April, you know, March, April, May, it'll get, you know, to 100 degrees easily, and there's just no way I could exist here without the central air. But you know, and like here, this is our bedroom window here that looks out onto the bananas. And this is where like I said a few minutes ago, this is where the fighting roosters would live. And you knew it about 4 a.m. every day, because you know, 6 or 8 of them would just be yelling at each other, you know, crowing early. And sometimes they just wouldn't even stop at all throughout the night. You'd just hear them randomly. And I'm glad they're gone. I'm glad they're gone. But yeah, I mean, it's simple, cozy, easy to maintain. You know, if I end up being here full time in the future, I'd love to put like a little office over here, cordon it off, and you know, maybe get some aircon in there. But that's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? See, here's a bag of rice. I'm sure, I don't know what plans are for that, but that's like, that thing's full of it. And like I said, she eats the rice, and then she'll sell a bag or two, you know, periodically for, you know, to have cash or whatnot. This is our little garden. We just cut this papaya tree down. It was really tall and not producing any papayas, so we hacked it down, and I think we're going to put some chili in there or something. I don't know yet. Get some seeds and try to grow something, because it's our only place. You know, the rest of it's concrete, so it's, you know, you can pick and choose, and you can get, you know, a bag full of chili for like 50 cents up at the market, and it's okay. But yeah, guys, I mean, this is just, you know, a tour of the homestead here. We got some little chickens over here. That's the neighbors. They like their family with the people across the street, and the chickens roam back and forth throughout the day. But they're not loud. They're not. I think those are all hens, so I don't have to listen to that rooster BS. You got the motorbike shop across the street. I don't think they ever really did any business. We'll walk down here. Now this is my wife's cousin's house right here with the carport. They work out at the 7-Eleven distribution center, and they mortgaged the land to build this place some years ago, so they took a different approach than my wife did. But I guess the house here was in really bad shape, so they didn't think they thought it was best just to build something new. But they will be, you know, tied to this place for the next 25 years or whatever. So different ways to do it here. My wife used to have a really good job, and when she had money, she, you know, remodeled the house, and, you know, she lives there with no house payment, and, you know, property tax is very low to non-existent here. It's not very much, so it makes for easy living. You know, what we spend on the house is electric and the internet now, and the electric with the aircon runs about $30 a month, you know, 1,000 baht, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And then, you know, internet, which is about $20 a month. So all in all, we spend about $50 a month to live here, and that's cheap living. And, you know, it makes things a lot easier for us, because I am I don't have a high income, and so it works out. And I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about that, and how living in Isaan can go, you know, many different ways, you know, just depending on your situation and how you go about it. So thanks guys, this has been Zach with Savage Traveling here in Danoi, Thailand. Just relaxing, enjoying the well, the cloud cover today. As you can tell, I'm out here with, if it was sunny, I wouldn't be out here with no sleeves, because it gets, you know, you'll cook. All right guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, it's free, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.